And we are live for episode 2 of the Digital Commando Show, season 2. Guys, thanks for joining me again. It's going to be an awesome show. I've got a fantastic guest for you today, who is Donna McGrath, who I will bring into the room in just a second. I hope everybody enjoyed yesterday, the fantastic Duncan Price. Now, we are still looking for people to join us on this show throughout the series. We don't know how long this one's going to be. We haven't put a cap on this one. So it's not 50 episodes like last one. We're going to really get exciting and just run with it until we get absolutely knackered and run out of people in the world. So we're going to continue to do this. So going to have a fantastic show today, guys. Please do share it with anybody you know who you feel could benefit from these shows. We talk about everything from marketing to motivation to finances to pretty much anything you need to run a successful business. So we're going to bring Donna into the room right now, and we're going to find out a bit more about her story, her experience, and her expertise. And hopefully we can all take something away today to implement it into our businesses to be more successful. So without further ado, let's get her in.
Hello, Stefan. How are you?
Donna, how are you?
Yeah, really good. Thank you very much.
I've missed this fantastic accent.
Well, to be honest, I've missed hearing it myself because my family are in Northern Ireland, and I've really been able to get to see them because of the pandemic. Travel is not great at the moment, so yeah.
And they've just gone into lockdown again, if I'm right. Is it?
Yeah, Northern Ireland's just gone into lockdown again. The schools are off again for 2 weeks. So a lot of people are very busily trying to sort out their kids. And so, yeah.
Well, hopefully we can all get locked down as soon as possible now. And by Christmas, they can release it so we can all actually spend some time with our families at Christmas. Fingers crossed. That's what I'm hoping for. We can all be out of lockdown for Christmas. But thank you very much for joining me today. It is great to see you. Donna, let's tell everybody a bit about you and what you do. So first things first, tell us about what you do.
Okay, so I am a former solicitor. I stopped practicing this year to set up a business for coaching lawyers. So I am the lawyer's coach. I'm the only coach in the UK that's really focused on in-house lawyers to help them to become a lot more productive and a lot more effective in the role, both from a professional development perspective and also navigating their way around a large organization, and also to help the function and the leader of the function to put in really efficient processes to increase the impact of the legal function within the organization. And the reason why I have got a very unique offering is because obviously I was a solicitor myself. I know the issues within the industry, and because I've worked in-house in Severn Trent, Rolls-Royce, National Grid in Holland and Barrett. So I've seen best in class and what works well and what doesn't work well, and I can take those learnings into any other in-house legal team.
Superb. So loads of expertise in here today. So guys, if you do have any questions for Donna, then please do throw them into the chat and she will be more than happy to help you. But we don't just want all your legal problems now. This is not what it's for.
No, I don't practice anymore. In actual fact, I took myself off the roll because when you're on the roll, you still have duties to the regulator. And I find that if I'd done that I might be in a very conflicted position, potentially with clients. And I just felt I cannot ultimately serve my client if I have got obligations elsewhere. So definitely no legal questions. Obviously, I could point you in the right direction if you needed it. No legal advice here.
Okay, cool. Donna, why do you do what you do? There must be a reason behind this. Obviously, you get to go out there and you get to help business owners and things like that. But for you personally, why do you do what you do? And don't just say for the money. The money's great. Why do you do it?
The money isn't fantastic. No, I took a massive pay cut. As you can imagine, I was the head of legal in my business before I decided to do this. But whenever I was in practice, I noticed that a lot of my friends and colleagues and really good people within the industry struggle and not struggle with the work or the capability of being a great lawyer. It was more with their energy, and it made them start to really question why they were doing what they were doing. And I found myself coaching a lot of people along the way. And in terms of the people who I have spoken to, a lot of them found out that it was really just down to how they sustain their own energy and how much they actually give. What I find within the sector, because the sector is a service sector, and a lot of people I know go into it to change the world. And after a while, they can get a little bit disenfranchised by the regulations and everything that is going on within that sector. And also, because the job does come with a lot of stress, and looking at previous reports and surveys, it seems to be that it is accepted within the industry to have a high level of stress. Yeah. And for me personally, I suffer from anxiety. I know I've mentioned it before. And I was able to deal with it. And even though I had anxiety, I thought there has to be some way that I can actually help even better. And because I knew that I was coaching, I was helping people, I just thought, actually, my calling is something completely different here. Yeah. I renewed my faith as well. I am Christian, and this is not a Christian broadcast at all. But what I realized, what I wasn't doing was really connecting with the things that really, really, really helped me serve at a better level. Yeah. The changes that I can see with the people in front of me, whenever I was in practice, was amazing. And it actually brought a tear to my eyes, and it really melted my heart. And I just thought, this is why I'm here. So then I set up the business to deal with that, and more of a kind of a higher purpose. The reason why I do it is because there is too much stress within the industry. The stats are out there. Last year, Lawcare published a report. Actually, it wasn't last year, it was earlier this year, that they'd done a survey where 1 in 4 junior lawyers were saying that they had suicidal thoughts. Last year, there was a report on a lot of, it was a bellwether report from LexisNexis, who is a massive JV business for lawyers who do a lot of, as a facility for them to do the research. And that revealed that there is a massive disparity within the sector regarding the leadership thinking that they're doing enough to combat the issues within the industry. And the actual issues. So there's a lot of education there, and it's more in the private practice sector. Yeah. I feel that because a lot of their clients can be in-house legal teams, that those in-house legal teams can really, really influence and really have an impact. I do help private practice lawyers as well as in-house, but that's my target market for the purposes of marketing, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. So is there anything currently in place for? No, I think now there's, if you look at any of the big tech companies, like not even that big, Facebook, Google, all these sorts of people, any tech company has probably got more than 30, 40 employees. They seem to be actually taking this very seriously now, because I know in the tech industries, we're not like lawyers, admittedly, we're a bit more chill, but because we can be to a degree. But there is so much of obviously speculation around mental health, the effect it has on people's productivity, that they do actually now employ like a head of happiness and things like this, which I think is a great idea. If we need one at some point, I think we've got maybe 14 more employees, and then we'll have to employ a head of happiness, which is just like the coolest job ever had anyway, isn't it? Like, what's your job? Head of happiness. But I think it's a great idea to have those sorts of roles inside the business to make sure that people are getting the right career progression and things like that in regards to achieving their goals and, and things like that, which does continue to drive people, and make sure people are getting the downtime and not getting burnt out, because we've all been there when we've worked in a business where you've got a small team and everybody's kind of passing it to the one person who's getting absolutely burnt out and the rest of them are chilling. Yeah, doesn't happen in my team. You get fired, but I've seen it 100 times. So yeah, no, I totally get that. So Donna, from your experience, actually, we've got a question. Let's use the question we've got.
Oh yes.
So Maria's asked about how do you think positive in a crisis? Now, I'm sure you've been through this loads of times, especially in the legal profession, with things coming up really kind of fast-paced. It's lots of fast sports in the profession. So, how do you?
It would be interesting to understand what Maria means by crisis.
Right. Well, it could be on about.
I suppose it could be. I suppose anybody's crisis is their own crisis. It doesn't really matter what it is, and technically, but generally, what happens to us, and you will hear loads of coaches, therapists out there explaining what actually physically happens to you. So a crisis can be where you're in a state of fear, high levels of stress, and you really can't see your way through it. So the best thing is to understand exactly what's happening to you when you go into that mode. And this is a really powerful piece of information. I know, Stefan, we've talked about it before. So what happens to your body is whenever you have any fear or anticipated fear, your body naturally produces chemicals. And what happens is those chemicals go to your brain and they start shutting down the rational part of your brain. So you've got two parts of your brain. Well, there's more than two parts of your brain, but the relevant ones are your emotional core, your amygdala, and your prefrontal cortex. Your prefrontal cortex is developed in your teens, and you start developing your rational self, if you like. And what happens is the chemicals that are produced in your body whenever you're under stress start shutting down your actual rational part of your brain. So your emotional core takes over. Now, that a lot of people think, oh my God, I'm going mentally wrong. There's something wrong with me. No, that's completely natural. And one of the first things I'll always say to someone is understanding that will help you 70%. So once you understand that, you can say to yourself, actually, this is just something physical that's happening in my body. And we know that we can control that. So actually, by actually thinking that yourself, what you're doing is you're using the prefrontal cortex of your brain. So by saying to yourself, actually, this is something physical that's happening to me. Now, that's actually a rational thought. And once you start asking rational questions, the cortisol, which is the chemical, starts to dissipate in your brain. And that means that these functions in your brain start coming back. So the best ways to get your cortisol down is to start asking yourself rational questions, like, what is it specifically that is causing me this stress? Write it down. So what can I do in order to manage this? Or whose support do I need in order to manage it? And one thing that probably the rest of the world is better doing than lawyers is actually being okay to say, I need help. That's really good. But from a technique perspective, if that's not working, to get yourself in that space where you can think that, is the normal things you'll hear everybody saying is deep breaths, 5 deep breaths, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Hold your breath in the middle. And what happens there is that starts to produce other chemicals in your brain that will combat the cortisol. So this is all physical stuff. Like people say, "Oh, I'm mentally unwell." It isn't really about mental health. It's about how you manage your body in order to combat these experiences that you're having, which is very different than when we talk about mental health. So, Maria, also, I offer free coaching sessions at the moment. So if you did want to take advantage of taking one of those, I'm still sure Stefan will be ever so kind to pass you my details, because I'm doing free complimentary coaching at the moment, because I know that at the minute a lot of people are struggling. So it's only like a half an hour session, but I can talk to you about it in more detail if you wanted to know more. Hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah, we'll get the link off to you, Donna, and we'll share it on our page and in the group. So if anybody wants to take advantage of any of those free coaching sessions, and then they can jump in on that. It's a really good thing to do at the minute as well. Yeah, I think from my point of view, it's strange when you go into the emotional side, because we go, yeah, when we switch to emotion, it's almost like the chimp paradox, if anybody's familiar with the book,
Yes.
where it is very much that emotional takeover. And if we imagine a chimp is kind of running around banging the drum, all that sort of stuff. But for me, like I'm super optimistic now. Like, always, it's annoyingly so. People are going to be pissed off with me just because of being on this show now and telling people how optimistic I am. But there is always potential for growth in any economy, regardless of, just because things have to change. I'm not going to use any of those horrible words that we use at the minute. Changes are happening. I embrace change. It's one of the things inside the culture of the academy and inside Sigma, that we have to embrace change. We're in the tech industry. Things change very, very often. We specialize in Facebook advertising, so it changes every day. It's a nightmare. But we have to embrace it. If we didn't like change, we wouldn't be able to do our job. So for me, I like change. I like things to adapt. I don't necessarily like what's going on at the minute, obviously, but it does give us the opportunity to grow and change individuals. Now, like Maria said, she's in Sweden at the minute, and businesses are closing everywhere, every day. Same here. We've all walked down the high street recently and seen how many empty shops are there. So it's awful. But what it does, it gives us a chance to be able to do something else. Now, actually, lots of the people that say it is awful that their business is closed down, but they are the same people that used to whinge about their job every day. So use this as an opportunity to go and do something that you actually enjoy. Get rid of that stress of the job that you hated and start doing something that you like. About 40%, if you work hard, about 40% of your life is probably spent actually working or thinking about or doing work. So why not do something that you actually like, rather than look back and go, most of my life is crap because I spent it doing something I hated. So don't do that. Go and find another job. And if you are busy, like, I get people are busy, like I totally get that, and they're working really hard to keep their businesses going, even if they don't like it, then at least try and make even an hour or so a day, ideally a week at best, if you can't do anything else, just to focus on working towards doing the thing that you would like to do. Like if you want to be a business coach, like Donna, if you want to go into marketing like me, if you want to do something else, start learning those skills now, so that when you're ready, you can make the jump. And actually, some of us now don't get the option to make the jump. You will be pushed. So be ready.
Life will catapult you out of it. It's a life will catapult you out of it. You just like, if you ever find yourself in a situation, Stefan, where you've been thinking for a long time, I need to make a change, you 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 don't make the change, and you think, I need to make a change, nothing happens, then you realize some of your friends are starting to get a little bit pissed off with you because of the way you're turning up in conversations. Your family's like, what the hell's going on with you? You're like, I don't know. You know exactly what's going on with you. The answer is within you. You just need a good friend or a good family member or a good coach to coach it out of you and to get you into action. And like Stefan, you mentioned earlier on about the change, and you embrace change, and I think that's fantastic. But I think you definitely have the personality style that can embrace change. Some people don't find it as easy. I'm like you. I have the same personality style as you, I think. Because I do disc profiling as in people profiling, but there are people out there with a different style that find change very, very, very unsettling, because it's so unsettling inside. It takes them a lot longer to get to that place. So as much as people might be out there watching this and saying, oh yeah, Stefan's great, and he is great, also give yourself that time. Also give yourself that time to mull it over, because you need that time. And just because you're not taking action, don't give yourself a kick up the ass. As long as you're planning to take action soon, that's good. But don't give yourself time.
I think make sure there's a plan in place. Now, you don't have to be executing the plan, but have a strict date of when you're going to start the plan, how the plan is going to develop. If you need to do things slowly, that's absolutely fine. But there needs to be an action and smart goalie type things that has to be measurable and obviously doing something. So yeah, absolutely for that. Now, when it comes to lost my train of thought. This always happens on my show. We were talking about
you were talking you were talking about in a crisis and people who about taking the opportunity in that particular crisis.
Exactly. That is exactly it. So when obviously making those changes and going after the thing that you would actually like to do. So yeah, well, I'm just going to leave it with that. Actually, just do it. So stop thinking about it. Obviously, like we said, now at the minute things do change, and it's unpredictable if people are going to be in jobs because we don't know what's happening with different businesses. So at least if you've made those things and put those things in place, you've got somewhere to go and actually do that.
Yeah.
One of the best things that ever happened to me was I was kind of pushed into my situation. So if you lots of people will sit there in their job. Now, you might have some money saved up, so you could jump ship if you wanted to. But not. It's not a very comfortable thing, is it? People don't like change, generally speaking. So people don't want to, and it's a risk because it might not work. Whereas a full-time job is always going to pay you. Now, when things change and your back is up against the wall and you have to generate a salary because you've got no other option and you've got a family to support, a house, mortgage, everything else, then it has to work. And actually, that's not a bad situation to be in. Obviously, like Donna said, different personality styles work in different ways. I love it. I bet getting fired was amazing. So I got fired from my job. We disagreed. I'm going to say it was mutual, but I mutually couldn't go back into the office. So they got rid of me and a few other people at the same time. And we literally went up the next day and went, do you know what? Sodom, we're going to do it ourselves and we're going to do it better. And we did within like 6 months. It was crazy because at that point, there was 3 of us back against the wall. We had 1 month's salary and we had to make a business work with 1 month's salary within a month. Otherwise, you haven't got any money.
Well, exactly, yeah.
And it was so exciting. It was actually probably one of the most exciting times of my life, and I thoroughly enjoyed it because it's probably the area where there was the most change, positive change. So don't be too afraid. Just go in there and give it your all if you find yourself in that position. There's nothing wrong with it. And actually, you can come out a lot better. I'm significantly better off now than I was then. Miserable before, and I was working till silly o'clock in the morning. Now I only work till 2, so it's great.
Yeah, and it's like, as you say, Stefan, it's like there's a gift in there for everybody.
Yeah.
And you and I can relate to what you're saying. It's like I got to the stage where I had 2 months left in the money that I had, and I have savings. I just don't want to go into my savings because I like to be pretty good at not delving into those because they are for investment, not for me going out and shoes with, etc. And you're completely right. And this is very typical of what happens with change. You have to get to a certain pain point before people can take an action. And that's actually good. That's quite healthy as long as you're taking the action, because inaction is the problem. It isn't the pain is the problem. It's the not acting in a positive way towards it. Completely.
So, Donna, for you, when we're talking about businesses, then we go back to businesses, and some people are starting them, some people are in them. Now, what are the most important values for a business for you personally? Just in terms of values, what I will say generally is everybody's got their own values, and if you are setting up your own business, or you are a sole trader or a solopreneur, as we call them, the best thing to do is use your values
in order to push the business forward. Now, what I would always suggest for you to do is to challenge those values, because some people, some values can be quite destructive.
Yeah.
Some values can be really helpful. So, for example, if you have a value of commercialship, as in trying to get money, that value in itself is, and it is a value, it is, it doesn't really help you as an individual, because if you keep focusing on the money, you're not focusing on the client. And whenever you're not focused on the client, you're not going to get the rewards. And that people can see that. I think people have evolved. We have grown so much. There's a lot of people that's waking it up, and they can see past those kinds of things now. So I would say, value-wise, it's all about the customer. And that isn't tongue-in-cheek. Oh, yeah, put the customer first. You actually have to have it in your heart and in your minds that you are serving. You're here. We're all here. We've all got a purpose. We've all got to serve. For me personally, I've got a value of being really open and honest. I'm sure everybody has that to a degree, but mine is, I've got brutal honesty. This is the feedback that I get.
I like that.
Some people like it, some people don't. But the reason why I feel I need to do that is because I'm working with people who want to make a change. And if they are holding themselves back, I'm just going to tell them.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to sit around and wait for them to figure it out over the next 3 or 4 months by me trying to coach it out of them. That's a waste of their money, and that's a waste of their time. And that, to me, ultimately isn't serving.
And you're working with an industry of people that generally do speak like that anyway. I suppose in the law firm.
I love the profession, but my God, we all have a opinion on like the best way to pull a little stick out of a grape.
Oh, yeah.
We've all got opinions, but coaching isn't about opinions. This is about you digging deep into yourself and getting truth with yourself, which brings me on to my third value, is that I help you get the truth out. What's the truth here and what's going on? I get to the real core of things. And I mean, one other thing I really like is where people talk about being brave. I don't know what the right word that you would use there from a value perspective, but
I think the Spanish is cojones, but I'm not sure.
Oh, all right. So getting some cojones and feeling okay to speak up. Lawyers are very good at speaking out for and representing other people, not so good for themselves. And also, you know, obviously I can coach non-lawyers as well, but that part of it is because in society today, because of the new rules around inclusion and diversity and all these things, that we don't want to be offending people, which is right. I think a lot of people feel very, very, very restricted and can't really express themselves. So I help people get that balance.
Okay, awesome. This happened again yesterday. You can carry on. I'm still here. The camera just goes off every now and again.
That's fine. I would say in terms of those are the key values, really. He's back.
I'm back. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Donna. Now, just before we go, now we did mention this on the show yesterday with Duncan, but I feel like it's very relevant to yourself as well, working in the industry that you do. Now, burnout, I think, has never been so big. From my experience personally, since probably back in 2008, I haven't seen anything like this before. So it's all a bit manic, isn't it? Everybody's really hustling. They're going for it as much as they can at the minute because there's no other choice. Now, burnout, I think personally, has never affected so many people. My cousin's he's 4 years younger than me, so like 28, and he's been affected by burnout really, really bad. That's then had a knock-on effect to health conditions and things like that. So we're starting to see that more and more. What advice have you got, or do you give to people that are starting to show signs of burnout? What can people do to actually try and negate that as much as possible? Apart from 30-minute call.
I saw a really great post last night on this on LinkedIn. And I thought, why didn't I articulate it that way myself? And I thought it was brilliant. So I'm going to share what I saw.
Okay, cool.
I think it's better than what I would say. So, one, it's not big and clever to be working to 2 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's not big and clever not to be spending time with your family. And it's not big and clever not to take time out for yourself. It is not serving you. If you don't have the energy to do your job, then there's something going wrong inside you. So taking that into a daily routine is really, really, really important. And this is something my coach has taught me, and I've got better at this, is one, wake up in the morning, check your state. Are you exhausted? Yes, no. Are you not jumping? If you're not jumping out of the bed, then there's something going on with you. So check your diet. Are you having enough vitamin D, vitamin B12, vitamin A, which is brilliant for energy. And one thing I've learned is vitamin B12 isn't something that we naturally get into our food. So we really need to be taking supplements. At this time of the year, I would also recommend someone get a satellite. I've got a little satellite to my side, which gives you that vitamin D as well. And movement, just moving around, even if it's just a little walk. You don't have to be out pumping in the garage or in the gym to lose like millions of pounds of weight. Just simple movement, moving around, and actually building some time into your day for a little R&R. Now, a lot of people are working from home now, and on this list yesterday I saw people saying, take a nap. And it's quite interesting the amount of people that wrote underneath saying, oh gosh, I can't take a nap. If I took a nap, I would sleep forever. But there are some little apps that you can get for your phone. So I would say download an app which allows you to nap. I stole that. A nap app. And it'll wake you up in 20 minutes because the alarm will go off. But the power of having that sleep is meant to be really good. I know we spoke about Duncan, and he is like a sleep expert.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so like, Duncan is brilliant, and he will always talk about sleep, and sleep being one of the most important things, if not the top thing, for your cognitive function and your energy. One other thing I'd like to say is if you are having problems sleeping, and if you're really, really snoring really badly, that can really affect the amount of oxygen that you're getting into your body. And I found out that my husband complains about my snoring. It was really bad, to the point my neighbours can really hear it. But I have been diagnosed with sleep apnea.
Right.
And I now have one of those machines that it's like Darth Vader. But I have to wear that at night. But wearing that has really affected my energy. My energy went from like here to here. So being aware of things like that you might not even contemplate that could be going on for you is very, very powerful. So just really simple things is make sure your health is good. Getting your vegetables, and like going back to the old adage of fruit and veg, like people say, oh yeah, I know, everybody says that, but actually that is part of the reason why you might not be feeling great. Superfoods, berries are brilliant to raise the serotonin in your brain. And movement, just those are the 3 simple things. They're like, we all need to get those into our days. If you're not doing that, that's basic stuff. Get that right, and the rest will come.
It was really interesting, actually. So throughout season 1, we had over 100 guests. You were on season 1 as well. We had 100 guests on season 1. Over 1 million people watched it. And the reason that I did season 1, and the reason why we tried to get so many people on in such a short period of time, was because I was trying to identify the trends in successful people that everybody did. And it was really cool. So 2 of the big things, and this already been like, this is only episode 2, and they've both been mentioned, I think, on both episodes. So the big things that always jump out, and I'm guilty for it myself, but I'm going to make a conscious effort to change that, is breathe, and water.
I was actually going to say water. Yeah.
It's huge. This camera's good. I did promise everyone I'd fix this, but it
more entertaining.
honestly, this is rather. They do call me Magneto for a reason, because I break everything. I will be back.
Special powers going on there.
I'm back in the room.
Yay!
That how long this one lasts. But Donna, that's awesome. I think we've covered so many good things there that people can take away. Oh, we've had a comment from David on LinkedIn. Good call. He's struggling with patterns being really, really busy, then hitting the buffers. Totally. I don't know what industry David's in, but it's quite common, isn't it, that we're going for it, hell for leather, and then it's like, hold on, let's.
Can Can I give David and anybody that's listening a leaving tip, which I learned from Miles Grant, who is my coach. If you have got your phone in front of you now and you're watching, in your diary, put a reminder for drinking water and taking a break every hour. Now, you might not do it every hour, but the fact that that's coming into your phone and your phone's in front of you, that little reminder on its own can do so much to trigger a change in your behaviors, because this is all about your behaviors during the day. And when we're sitting like this, working away, and we're looking up at the clock saying, oh God, how did it get to 6 o'clock? And it was like 10 o'clock only like 5 minutes ago. With those messages, you start to making a conscious effort then to move, get some water, eat, make sure you're eating, because you need your fuel to fuel your business, to get the money into your pocket. And so that's my leaving tip, is to put it into your reminder into your phone.
There is actually loads of apps that do this as well. So there's loads of water apps. Just put in like drink water into the app store and it'll come up. There's loads of them.
But even more simplistic, just put a reminder into your phone.
Yeah, same thing. And all it does is it just sends you a reminder anyway. But let's all make a conscious effort to drink more water, and then come back to this show and leave it in the comments how you got on. Do it for 2 weeks and then come back and comment on it. We want to know. But yeah, H2U. Dave's drinking water now. He's on the other computer. I'm literally going to download H2U right now. There we go, guys.
Yeah, and put a glass of water beside your phone at night. I know that doesn't sound sensible. So rather than reaching for your phone in the morning, reach for the glass of water and have that first, because you've been sleeping all night. You haven't drank anything. And I have personally found a massive difference. So it'll be really interesting to see if people start doing that. Has that made a difference for them?
There we go.
Oh, you got your idea.
You've been awesome. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Guys, big round of applause for Donna in all the chat. If you watch this on the replay and you want to ask any questions, then please just do the hashtag replay and then ask your questions so we know it is on the replay. Guys, tomorrow, a little bit of a change to our normal schedule. So this season is a bit different. So Monday, Tuesdays is where we get a great guest on. On Wednesdays, we're going to be doing some training with you. So tomorrow we've got some digital marketing training for beginners. Anybody that wants to get a quick upscale on their marketing. On a Thursday, we're back with another guest. And then Friday, I take the day off because I finish at 12. So there you go.
Take care of yourself.
I'm not burning out. No problem with that. So I'm finishing early. So guys, that is how our week runs. So please do join me tomorrow. Our training is live at 11 a.m. And we'll be on. Same again. LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And I think you can get hold of it on Twitter and Instagram. So there you go. It's everywhere. Guys, that is it for today. We'll see you tomorrow at 11 for our digital boot camp, and then again on Thursday with another guest. Donna, thanks again. Everybody, thank you very much, and peace out.